Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this live session. We'll be looking at tone and mood today. We're still dealing with CSEC English B. As you guys can see, we have two additions to the studio. It's evening for you guys. It's morning for me. We have Miss Annette and Miss Antoinette. Or by names here, we have Triple A and Miss Anderson. So we can go by whatever name we please. And these are teachers of English and Lit. And they will be, just answering questions, chatting with me. We'll be chatting with each other about tone and mood in the CSEC poems. I've been getting many questions about, what is the tone in this poem? What is the mood? Even what is the difference between tone and mood, stuff like that. And I might not get the time to create a dedicated edited video about that before the exams. So hopefully this live session will be useful. All right. We only have about 2 or 3 or 7. It says 7 viewers here by now, but I guess the number will rise a little bit as a few minutes pass. So yeah, tone and mood, that's what we're looking at. So if our co-presenters would just do a super short intro, so we can just know who you are, that would be a good place to start us off. So Miss Anderson, do you want to go first?
Sure. Well, I am, as Mr. Webb said, Miss Anderson, and I am a teacher of language and literature for many years, I'd say. And I really enjoy the subject area, especially English literature. So that's just a little bit about me.
Nice, thank you very much.
Hi everyone, I am Triple E. Like Miss Anderson said, I also teach both English and literature. But unlike her, I enjoy English E more than English B. But I'm coming along here because I've recognized the fun that you can have with English B and how it can contribute significantly to life.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, ladies, for the brief intros. So now that we are here and my teacher is here in the studio, we can all look at the chat going down, I believe, even though I can only show one message at a time on the actual stream. We have about 11 persons coming in saying hello. Curiosity Kid says, I really love English B more. Trina agrees.
Miss Anderson, you've got some followers.
Yes.
What does Triple A mean? Menon asks. Menon has become a regular on the sessions, asking about Triple A. Is that something you can share?
Yeah, it's my name. It's all A's. Annette Alexander Andrews. Triple E.
Wow. A story in a name. Very interesting. All right. So Alicia says she's struggling with lit. Shake my head. Hopefully these sessions and the videos, and I'm not the only CSEC YouTuber here. You guys should really make use of the overabundance of videos and blog posts and free materials out there. I mean, there are paid classes you can get into, but if you are strapped for cash or if you want something in addition to lessons, there are so many free resources. So if you're struggling, it's not because there's no resource out there. You just need to connect with the resource that works for you and matches your learning style. For example, live sessions might be what does it for some persons. And for those who can't make the live, you can always rewatch the video later on. Even though you missed the chance to ask questions live, but that's fine. Struggle reading the books. Hmm. Any advice for how we can read so many books so quickly? Teachers? It's rough.
Audiobooks, they help a lot. So if you can get an audio copy, and as my daughter, she increases the speed, doesn't work for me, but I think the audio takes away the strain of you going through the reading, and you have the book open at the same time, and it's like somebody telling you a story. That helps.
Yeah.
Right.
Audiobooks. Yeah. And if there
Definitely.
are no audiobooks, also reading with your friends or classmates, just chatting about the books. Maybe you
Mm-hmm.
can't really
Right.
attend a book club, so to speak, but
Mm.
if you can
Yeah.
find ways outside of class to have fun with the books and interact,
Yes.
then you'll be excited to go from chapter to chapter or from act to act or whatever, from poem to poem, whatever the
And
case is.
can I interject? Depending on the text, there for some of them there's the movie version, so that should also be some help. So there may be the movie version for some of them, and also you can read the summaries online. You can go online and you get the summaries. Not saying that you should only depend on the summaries, because you know that you need to have evidence where you can, quote certain things in your essays. But you can read the summary to give you an idea of the overview of the text. And that can, help you and even motivate you to read.
Yes, excellent advice. And even university students and professors use these same summaries, so don't worry.
Yes,
It's not bad
definitely.
advice. It's good advice. Believe it. Teachers,
Yes.
students at all levels make use of these resources. So we're not telling you to do something that we're not doing ourselves.
Right.
Yeah, good advice. Tash, I maybe at the end of the stream I'll talk about some classes that I'll be doing, but I can't get into that right now. But I am running English A and B classes. Thanks for the tip. So we have some appreciation for the tips that we've been sharing. All right, why don't we go ahead and get onto tone and mood? So we have 20 poems, and you might be asking, oh, why do we need to look at tone and mood? We're already looking at devices, we're looking at themes, we're looking at so many aspects, and we're looking at poetry. No, poetry is what we're looking at. Tone and mood can be applied to all genres of lit, but they are especially important when it comes to poetry. Now, there are a few reasons why we need to pay attention to tone and mood. First is understanding what the tone and mood in a poem are will help us to perceive the author's message, the poet's intent. When the poet wrote this, what were they thinking? What do they want me to think? We'll get into what tone is and what mood is, but that's a general purpose. Another purpose now, which is more specific to the exams, is you will likely need to comment on tone and mood as you develop your poetry essay. So in the essay, you'll be looking at some aspects, devices, what theme comes out. You'll be citing evidence. And if you can mention the tone or the mood, extra points. It shows that you really have an intimate knowledge of the poem. So what we'll do, I'll share a little presentation that I have here. And the three teachers on stream, as well as you guys through the comments, we'll just interact with this and see what's going on. All right, let's see. Here we are. Okay, let's get us on the side here. So we're looking at tone and mood. And I have this, like, it's not really a lesson, guys. Don't be intimidated by lesson objectives. But basically, we're kind of setting a precedent for what we want to accomplish today. So we're not running left and right. So we want to be able to differentiate between tone and mood. What is the difference between tone and mood? They're often mixed up. And then we want to be able to identify what tone and what mood a poem has and talk about it, right? And if we can do that, then automatically we'll be able to compare poems based on tone and mood. This poem has a reflective tone, so does this one. This poem has such a mood in contrast to that poem. Stuff like that. So that's basically what we plan to achieve. So the other teachers in the studio here can perhaps add to what I have, but for me, defining tone and mood, tone is simply the speaker's attitude toward the subject. How does the speaker feel toward the subject? That's going to come out in their tone. Whereas the mood is how the poem makes the reader feel. So what is your mood after reading the poem? Or we can look at it as the general atmosphere of the poem, which is a vaguer description, but we can look at it as tone, the speaker's voice, mood, how you feel. Is there any other ways in which we could differentiate between tone and mood? To my teachers here, any ideas on that?
I think you hit it on the head. I normally just tell them how you feel versus how the speaker feels. One thing though that is sometimes a challenge for students is that they may say they have no feelings. So I really appreciate the general atmosphere of the poem as another option for mood, because some children say it doesn't make me feel anyhow. It doesn't,
right.
They can't connect with it. So focusing on the general atmosphere, if you are in that situation, should help you to be able to figure out mood. But tone, how the writer feel, mood, how you feel. That's generally how I put it.
And you agree, Mr. Anderson?
I totally agree. I was going to say, the tone is how the speaker feels, and the mood is how we feel, after, viewing the work. So certainly she said it all.
Nice. And I tacked on this thing about atmosphere because as AAA mentioned, hope you don't mind me calling it AAA. It's such an exciting name. as AAA mentioned, sometimes the poem doesn't really impact us personally. Doesn't give us any emotional change, but it doesn't mean that the poem doesn't have a mood.
Definitely.
Maybe our heart is just too tough for the poem.
Could be.
Just joking. But what it could be is, instead of thinking of, I don't feel any particular way, think about if the poem were a person, what would that person look like? If the poem were a place, what would it feel like? What is the atmosphere? Are you getting a tense atmosphere in this poem? Is it more serious? Is it more comedic? So we can look at it from that angle if you are struggling with, how it makes us feel, pretty much. So just some more hints. When we're checking for tone, we ask one question. How does the speaker sound? Right? How does the speaker sound? If I am in my office here and I hear my wife calling me from another room, just with that one word, which is my name, I can know the tone in the voice. I can know if it's going to be a good conversation or a bad conversation because I can hear the tone. Of course, we can't hear in an audial sense a voice in the poem because it's written, but we'll have to use words and use hints to figure out how the speaker's voice is being conveyed. Whereas if you want to check the mood, ask, how does this poem make me feel? Or what is the emotional setting of the poem if you're not getting any impact there? So what we're going to do from here on, we're going to look at the 20 poems. Hopefully we'll get through all 20 and just briefly discuss what tone and what mood we find in the poems. And by the way, tone and mood, they're different, but the words we use to describe them might overlap.
Yes.
So some words can describe both tone and mood, while some lean more toward tone and some lean more toward mood. But what you need to get clearly is that tone is how the writer sounds, while mood is the effect it has. That is the distinction we need to pay attention to.
Before you go on, can I
Yes.
say one thing? Sometimes students mix up the author with the persona in the poem. So they need to be mindful of the speaker versus the poet. Just saying.
Yes. That's very true. That's very true.
Mhm.
So when we're looking at the tone, we should be looking at, whoever is speaking, how does their voice sound? And hopefully a bit later on we can get more into differentiating between the persona, the speaker, the poet. Sometimes we throw these terms around as if they're all the
Yes.
same.
Same.
But
Right.
in some poems we can get into big trouble, like Mirror. When you look at Mirror, the speaker is different from the persona, because
Yes.
the persona isn't the one speaking throughout the poem. So if we get that one little word wrong, we might end up in big trouble. Yeah, big trouble. So hopefully we can get more into that a bit later on. All right, let me see if I can get back to. All right, you can work with this.
Yeah.
All right, bam. A stone's throw. So in just a minute, thinking of this poem, what are some tones? How does the speaker sound? And how does this poem make us feel? So in the chat, we're seeing the chat, guys. We're not leaving you out. In the chat, just mention what you think the tone is and how the poem affects you emotionally. We can take a peek at the poem here.
Okay.
What are you seeing in terms of tone and mood? After that, the teachers will share, we'll share what we think. Cruel. Wow. So is that for tone or mood? So indicate whether you're talking about the tone or the mood, so we can be on the same page. Do you feel cruel reading the poem, or do you think the speaker sounds cruel? We have to differentiate, guys. Okay, so a cruel tone. Yeah, you can see some cruelty in the tone here. And Trina says the poem brings a mood of sympathy. You feel sympathetic toward this woman here. Okay. Tashina says for tone, but what is the tone? Oh, brutal. Ooh. Wow. It's a strong word. Brutal. Mood, Menon says sad, angry. All right. Fair enough. And for mood, tragic. Mood, angry. So we can also look at how the tone affects the mood, because depending on how the speaker sounds, that is what is going to impact how we feel. So a cruel tone might give us a sympathetic or an angry mood. Yeah, that makes sense. Georgette Campbell says mood angry. Yeah. All right, you guys can continue to chime in. In the meantime, Ms. Anderson and AAA, what do we think here? Tone, mood, are we agreeing with the students so far, with the commenters?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it definitely, has a tone of anger. So I'm getting the angry tone. We've got her, in the first stanza when it starts off. Definitely, I am getting that tone. There are some others as well.
Yeah. Have a look at the tones and moods I've come up with and tell me if you guys agree. And by the way, nothing we teachers say here is gospel. Nothing on my slides here, just for the persons viewing. This is English beats, not mathematics. So
Right.
I can say
Music
A
is it.
and you say B, and we're both right. It's all about the
Definitely.
angle, the approach you take, and how well you're able to
Right.
justify. So
Right.
if you see us teachers disagreeing, it doesn't mean that we don't know what we're saying. It just means we might be looking at the same text from multiple angles. Yeah. How boring would it be if we all had the same perspective? We'd all write the same essay on the poem. No one wants to mark 50 of the same thing. Yeah. So for me, I have here a tone. For tone, I have callous, cold, condescending, egotistical. So I think the speaker sounds like this. When I'm imagining the person speaking, we've got her. Talking about how, this is nothing, a little bruising, you can take that. Sounds very callous, no compassion in his voice. Cold. Doesn't care about how this woman is being, affected physically, emotionally, mentally. Condescending, talking down to the person suffering. Egotistical, they feel as if they have the right to act this way. They have the right to trample upon another human being.
Yes.
So for me, I'm getting these tones. Are we getting these tones?
Definitely. I am definitely getting those tones. And another one that I want to add, it has a serious tone because,
Yeah.
as a speaker, goes on to say whatever is happening in that moment, the speaker sounds very serious, right? He means business. He came to get this woman, and that was his goal and his aim, and he was serious about it. And I'm getting a bit of a conversational tone. What do you say about that, Mr. Webb? I'm thinking I'm getting a bit of conversational
Conversational.
tone. Yes, because it seems as if he's speaking to, the readers,
Okay.
Look at
having
that.
a
Okay. Yes.
conversation, having
Yes.
somewhat of a conversation, telling us
Yes.
what happened in that moment, when he caught the woman and what
A
they did to
decent
her.
woman, you'd said.
Yes,
Yes.
You'd have
describing
said.
her.
Yes. Yes.
So he's telling us what's happening. He's conversing with us. So I'm getting a bit of a conversational tone.
That's a
I
good
see
insight.
Yes. We can add that to it. I see it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
see it too.
So I'm not the
And
only one.
no, you're not.
Definitely
Somebody,
judgmental
yes,
as
someone
well.
says judgmental.
Georgette
Yeah.
said, yes, very good,
Mhm.
Georgette.
Yeah.
Definitely judgmental. Yes.
Mm.
The Also the fact that the victim doesn't get to speak. So it's a one-way conversation, even though it's conversational.
Yes, definitely. I think if, the speaker is speaking to us, the readers.
Yes, to
We would
Yeah.
us.
be, yeah. It would seem as if we are the bystanders. Then we're looking and seeing what's going on, not literally, but we are there, and he's letting us know what happened. So
So
that's how the conversation comes into play.
that's right. So Trina says it's like a report. He's almost giving us a news report about
Yes,
Yes.
what
what
happened and what
happened?
they did. Yeah. So
Right.
we have some excellent insights here. So what about mood? How do you feel, or what do you think the atmosphere is? I have here chaotic, especially in the first couple of lines when everyone seems to be frantically running about surrounding this woman.
Yes,
Violent, that cannot be disputed, I think.
definitely,
Tense and horrific. Yeah, the
definitely.
men act like savages and heartlessly abuse the woman. So these are moods I find in the
And
poem.
Right.
some could even say exciting,
Wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
depending
can
on
see
your,
that.
yeah.
Depending on the angle that you're looking at it
Yes,
from.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because
definitely.
lots
Yes,
happening.
Mm-hmm. 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 Because something
definitely.
can be excited in a negative or a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Any further insights from the uh, persons watching the live? Because this is only one of 19, so we're gonna jump otherwise. Mood chaotic, yes, agreeing with what we're saying here. Mhm.
What about trauma?
Oh,
I'm getting a
traumatic.
sense, yes, a traumatic mood, from
Mm.
the occurrence, of that moment. So I'm getting a bit of that. Uh, I'm also getting a mood again. It's not written in stone, but from my perspective, I'm getting a mood of hope, not throughout the entire poem, but at the end, when the guru came on the scene and basically helped this woman, I get a sense, a feeling of hope. That is to say that even though the men, they judged her and they saw her as nothing, but there was somebody else who saw something in her nothingness. So I'm getting a sense of hope as
Good
it
point.
approaches the end of the poem.
Interesting.
That's a good point. I was going to add,
Yes.
I felt a little, the mood created for me was a bit of depression. Because as a
Yes.
woman, I
That's a
felt,
good one.
as a female interpreting the poem, I would have felt a sense of hopelessness coming
Yes.
out of it. So, yeah, I like that.
Mm.
So, it's interesting that there are changes in the mood
Mood,
throughout the
definitely.
poem.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's no rule that says a poem only has one mood or one tone. In
No,
fact, when you get to poems like the woman speaks to the man who has employed her son, oh my
yeah,
gosh, every stanza
yes,
is a new tone.
yes,
So the tone changes because someone can be angry and then they calm down and then they become so it just depends on what stands they're looking at and what's happening in
Yes.
the poem.
Tashina
And
says
yes,
dramatic,
The word choice.
dramatic. I think that is kind of riding on the excitement I was trying
yeah.
to pull from it. So that's a better word I would say, Tashina. Yes, it's definitely dramatic. Mhm.
And we have guilt for mood. So do we feel guilty reading the poem? Wow. I am not participating in this, so I don't feel guilty.
Not so much. Not so
Maybe
much guilt.
compassion for the
Yes,
woman, but
compassion for the
I wouldn't
woman.
say I feel guilty.
Guilty because, yeah,
Because that would
you know.
implicate me, and I don't want to be implicated in this activity at all. Yeah. So we see here how even in the last stanza, one teacher sees hope while another sees hopelessness. So we are allowed to disagree on how we feel because it's a
Yes,
personal thing. Even though
right.
the text is the same text, it impacts us differently. We just need to
Yeah,
be
that
able
too.
to
Yes.
support what we're saying.
Each reader will have a different response.
Yeah.
That is, looking at it from the reader response
Yeah.
perspective. Each reader is different, so we'll have different, insights and
Yeah.
feelings about the work, right? So,
Mhm.
yes.
And Tashina
Um,
said she was looking at it from a different perspective, but that is
yeah,
fine. If you
yes,
can defend and support feeling guilty,
That's the thing. You have
go
to have
ahead.
evidence. You have to have evidence.
Yeah.
So if you can write it and prove it, then you're good to go. But you
I'm
can't
curious to
state if
know.
you can't substantiate your
Yes,
claim.
I'm
So you have
curious
to
to
be
know,
able to do that.
Tashina, how Tashina did
Yes,
you
I want to know how she arrived at
come up with the
that
guilt?
point.
So could you
Yes.
let us know? That's interesting.
Very.
Okay,
Have
so
a
she's probably typing.
probably
Yes,
typing. In the
yes,
meantime,
Yeah.
we have
yes.
another panelist joining us with his red pen.
Yes.
Young man.
Do you have any insights, Aiden?
Young web.
Yeah.
Any ideas about the poem? Okay, he's thinking. All right. While Tashina types, why don't we just take a look? We can go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look at an African thunderstorm. What are some tones
Ooh,
and
Good one.
moods that come to mind?
African Thunderstorm.
Pull it up. African Thunderstorm.
He says thank you, Menon. What are some tones and moods that come to mind? But let's know in the chat. There are 13 of you guys here, but I wanted to type as if you're 300. So let's know. What are you seeing in this poem? All right, let me bring it up so we can be reminded. Tone, mood. All right, Trina. I think maybe if it was a male feeling guilty. Okay, so back to the previous thing.
Yes.
Like for what the males. Okay. I might say something to the effect of second-hand guilt or embarrassment, but just plain guilty. That sounds as if
the person you did the
I am
crime.
involved. Yeah.
Yes, that's how
There
it
might be
sounds.
other ways to convey feeling that sense of, you feel guilty on behalf of the men. I guess is what you're getting at. Okay. You'd have to do some gymnastics to explain that in an essay, but it will be up to you. All right. An African Thunderstorm, we have chaotic for tone. That's a good one, Camellia. We see chaos from beginning to end. We see more chaotic coming in. Yeah.
A lot of chaos.
Chaos. Chaotic. Yeah. From the teachers on set, what do we think?
The first thing came to mind was something that Miss Anderson said about serious. I see the tone here as being something serious to. Yeah.
I'm thinking. And actually, what you guys has said before, that's what I'm getting. The chaos and the serious. So that is coming to my mind right now. That's what I'm getting so far.
Because
I'm
it's
still
almost thinking. It's almost like a report on what's happening, and it's some very chaotic.
Somebody said ominous. That's a good one.
Yes,
that's a good one.
Yes.
Ominous.
And
that's a good one.
Trina says curious. Wow, that's a very light-hearted word to use for this poem. Curious. I suppose you could say they're kind of anticipating or anxious. Maybe we need to get to the stronger side of curious. Yeah. Traumatic. So you think the speaker sounds traumatized because you're looking at tone? Interesting. Scared. So we could say fear. A tone, a mood of fear brought onto the reader. Okay. You see bravery.
Brave.
Yeah, interesting.
Very.
More support for scared. All right, let's look at the
For
short
mood.
list. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't get the idea of the person being afraid. I'm looking at it.
Yes.
And I'm not getting that.
But afraid is the mood. So I guess the poem makes the reader scared, not necessarily the
mood
speaker. I guess.
Or they said scared for mood. Okay, all right, good.
For mood, I'm getting terror.
Yes.
I don't know. It seems terrifying. If I was in there probably I would feel a sense of, terror.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it seemed as if the speaker is used to the thunderstorm. I don't get a
Yes.
sense that the speaker is afraid. I get a sense that the
Yes.
speaker, accepts it and is used to it. So I don't know. I'm thinking resignation, a mood of resignation. Oh, what you say about that, Mr. Webb?
Mm,
The speaker has accepted, everything that is going on, and it seems as if it's okay. That's what I'm getting. So I'm getting that sense or that mood.
I'm not
Do
sure
anybody
if
agree?
I get that.
Okay.
I'm not sure. It could be there, but that's not something that
Mm-hmm.
jumped out at me
Okay.
when I read this. I'm not sure if the speaker accepts or
Yeah.
I don't know. Could be.
This will be one of those poems that you have to focus on the atmosphere a lot of when you're
Mm-hmm.
looking at mood, because it doesn't hit me personally like some of the others.
Hmm.
For
Got it.
mood here, it just makes me feel concerned, right? Very concerning. Um, Not scared, because
Hmm.
I'm getting,
Yeah, I'm not
based
getting scared.
on the writer's tone, I kind of get that resignation feeling that you're saying. So, because the speaker seems to see this as a process of life, as he doesn't try to terrify me, but he tries to make me aware of what's really happening. That's what I'm getting here. So, in
It's
terms
like a
of
warning
mood,
tone.
yeah, I feel a sense of, what's the word? Reassurance that
Mm,
this too is part of a process. That's weird, okay? That's weird. Kill me for that.
mm,
Hmm.
Right?
interesting.
The speaker is just telling us what's happening.
Yes.
In each stanza, the
Mm-hmm.
speaker is just, giving us the different things that are taking place. And as the speaker describes the events that are taking place, the speaker is just giving it to us as it is.
Yeah.
There is nothing. I'm not getting anything like some type of the
Personal
speaker is so
feeling.
concerned or
Yes.
worried or feel as if this is wrong. I am just getting where the speaker is just telling us the process of the
Yeah.
thunderstorm, what's happening during that,
Yeah.
event, right?
It's
So
almost
that is the
factual.
so that's the reason why I'm thinking that the speaker is resigned, or accepts the situation. So that is the
Mm-hmm.
reason why I'm getting both a tone and a mood of resignation, acceptance. Then,
Okay. I'm not seeing any particular emotional investment from the speaker
Hmm.
in this.
that is
The
it.
speaker
That
is
is it.
relaying what happens as if it's just a daily
A
storm.
common
Yes.
occurrence.
But I am not seeing where the speaker is A, being necessarily brave, or B, being necessarily fearful. I'm just
Right.
seeing maybe it's left up to us to feel some type of way, but the speaker
Indifference.
is just, yeah,
Yeah, he's indifferent. It's neither here or there for him. He's just telling you what's
just a matter
happening
of course.
in that moment.
We see here, we'll just run through some comments.
Yes.
The
Because
reader,
somebody is saying it's terrifying. So, again,
terrifying.
mood is open to somebody's personal interpretation. And I think
Yeah.
that there are many things in the poem to support being terrified,
Yes.
creating that mood. The idea of things just blowing all over the place and trees bending. It could create a sense of fear and terror in someone.
Yeah. And we have men supporting that whole thing because I guess it depends on your personal experiences. If you have experienced storms, If you understand the history behind this thing, then it might impact it differently. It
Yes.
might have a different different effect. And Andrea says something interesting here, mentioning the dramatic irony, because there is fear, I guess, contrasting the speaker seeming indifferent. The speaker seems a bit indifferent. However, he's commenting on something that should be striking fear into him, but he doesn't seem to be struck down by fear. He's just telling you as it is. And if I want to talk about dramatic irony, even though we're not looking at devices here, I would say the most dramatically ironic thing is that the little children seem to be excited.
Yes.
I
They
was
seem
going to
to
say
be
excitement.
excited and yeah,
Yes.
storm, not really recognizing when we as the readers, we can recognize the danger and power of the storm. While we see screams of delighted children, that's where the dramatic irony comes in, because the danger is obvious to us, but to the
But not
children
to
in the
them.
poem, it's just another reason to miss school today. It's an exciting day.
So would we say that excitement would be a
One of
mood,
I would
the
highlight it.
or
moods.
yes, one of the moods, and also could it be tone? Could it refer to tone as well?
I don't think the speaker sounds particularly excited,
Mhm.
but I think
I don't think
we
so.
might feel excited by the
The
language used.
description.
Yeah. So this is a case in which tone and mood might be very different in the same poem.
Different.
Yeah, could be. What do I have here? I have doom and chaos for mood. For tone, I have anxiety. Over here on the right, I think this is from the previous poem. Sorry about that. I have for tone anxiety, anticipation, fear, confusion. Even though I was saying the speaker sounds a bit neutral, but just looking at some diction, I could support those, I think.
Could you support the anticipation?
Anticipation. All right, let's look at the first stanza here. Clouds come hurrying with the wind. So the clouds aren't literally hurrying because the clouds don't have any sense of time. But the speaker perceives the clouds as hurrying, maybe because he's so expectant. Yeah, that's what I think. So I think the speaker is looking forward to or expecting the storm, because the storm is inbound now. In the first stanza, the storm isn't here; it's coming. But it seems as if the speaker is not necessarily fearful, but anticipating the storm coming,
Okay.
turning sharply here and there. It's whirling. So it's almost like he's a journalist reporting on a storm that's about
Yes,
to hit home,
that's what comes to mind. The
giving the
fact
weather
that it's a
report.
report.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's coming. It's near Cuba. It's passing Haiti. It's gonna be here in 90 minutes, and I'm getting that vibe where he's just watching it come closer. So it might not be anxiety, but it's expectancy for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I
And
see
this will
Trina.
be one where there's a slight change when we come to the children. So yeah.
What about suspense? Suspense just came to me.
Ooh,
It is. Do we get any
suspense.
suspense
I
in
think if we
terms
have
of?
if we have anticipation, then we might have
Yeah,
Yes.
suspense.
yeah, that
Yes.
kind of the same thing. Anticipation and
If
suspense.
you're reading
Kind
it
of.
for the first time, you would
Mm,
be a little anxious to see where is this going, and then you turn the page and it's just going.
mm-hmm.
So
Just
yes,
going.
yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. How if
And
we're satisfied with that, how about we jump on to, where are we now?
bird shooting.
Bird shooting season.
Okay.
And
Let me pull
this
up
is
my
our poem
copy.
here. For those who need to reference, bird shooting season. The men make marriages with their guns. Hope that we've read all of these poems. The poems are
Yeah.
so many, so we might it might take us a minute to remember what each poem is talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
To pull it up.
And even the teachers on stream weren't briefed on the order of the poem, so
Yeah, I'm flipping through my book here.
Yeah, they're flipping through their texts as well, as you
Yes.
should be doing at home.
Some poems, they definitely make a greater impact on me than others, so I could jump out. But for bird shooting season, I remember a sense of anticipation. So I'm looking to back that up as a mood that was created. You know, maybe I like too much excitement, but a sense of anticipation that
Yeah.
we're going out to do something. Tone now.
Unfairness. What is that, Camellia? Tone or the mood?
Unfairness.
I've never heard that used to describe tone or mood, so it's interesting to me. Injustice. Are you seeing some injustice at this point? Tashina, I haven't read this one. Camilla feels hope. What? Are we looking at the same poem? If you could justify that with some evidence, Camilla. In the meantime, Menens feels fear and compassion for the birds. Okay. Fear, compassion. Fear, compassion. Oh, the unfairness between the male and females. Innocence. So remember, guys, when we're describing tone and mood, we should be using emotionally descriptive language.
Words, yes.
Right? Not just words that capture themes, but words that capture feeling. Right? So mocking, I like this word. Mocking. A mocking tone, I guess. You feel as if the women are being mocked? Oh, interesting.
Serious again. I'm getting serious.
Serious poems.
I guess. You know.
I'm getting okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You go ahead. Triple A, you can go ahead.
All right, I didn't mean to run over you, dear. I was going to talk about the little boys longing to go out and hunt as well. So this poem is similar to the one we just looked at, in that there is a lot of reporting on what exactly is happening, right? But towards the end, the persona joins in. Well, no, they joined in before, but in the line where it says, "We stand quietly on the doorstep, shivering, little boys." So there is that feeling of anticipation that I'm thinking is coming. There's this excitement. They're looking forward to it. The girls, on the other hand, gives us also a feeling, the girls whispering, "Fly, birds, fly." So there's a little bit of fear that is coming out on the part of the girls, right? So that I'm seeing that in the poem so far.
We also have here in the chat fascination. The boys seem to be fascinated with these men hunting birds, and they want to become bird hunters too. For me, what I saw reading this poem, for tone, I got a reflective tone. I think this person speaking is kind of reflecting on a time, reflecting on maybe a memory, something like that. So I got reflective. I said there's a tone of reflection as the speaker notes the differences between men and women, reflecting not just on the activities, but on like the meaning of the activities. You know, men are doing this while women are doing that, between masculinity and femininity. I also saw subtle tones of dissatisfaction and sarcasm. That's a good point. I never looked at it that way, Aiden. Yes. So I saw some dissatisfaction all night long. Contentless women stir their brews. And we stand, where else? My father's house turns macho. I think the speaker might be a little bit sarcastic, kind of hinting that, you know, these men are acting like they're doing all of these important things. But in reality, the women are really the ones doing the hard work here. All of this cooking, all of this food preparation. Yet it seems as if the men are the heroes in this situation, are the ones doing the thing. So I got a little bit of even contempt, if it might be too strong a word. Yeah. So I might be taking it in a different direction there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very.
I think the speaker here might be.
Yes, I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
What do you think is the sex of the speaker? That is what I was going to ask. Because I could see that based on you thinking that the speaker is female.
Yeah. If the speaker is female, then I would be sensing some amount of discontent in the tone. If the speaker is female.
We stand quietly on the doorstep shivering, little boys longing to grow up. What do some of the persons online think?
Let's see here. The girls seem not to. Okay, this is for speaker. You think the speaker is female? This person says. Who do we think the speaker is? Someone says, I think the speaker is a little girl. It's anyone's guess, but a little girl might be a good guess. Female.
When you take a look at the last stanza, Mr. Webb, where it says, we stand quietly on the doorstep, shivering, little boys longing to grow up, bird unto school, little girls whispering, fly birds fly. Okay, so it's a mix of male and female, so we can't really tell from that.
Yes, you can't
stanza.
Yeah, you can't. But
yeah.
But why couldn't the speaker be one of the contentless women? Are we ruling that out? Why couldn't the speaker be one of the women, as opposed to just a little girl? Because if the speaker is a woman, the speaker would go again.
The third line that says, "My father's house turns macho." So that suggests to me that the men are going out and the person speaking is an offspring of one of the men, or whether they're a teen or a young lady, that's another thing. But I'm likely to think that they're more of a child.
Yes.
Yes.
It appears that way, but I'm looking at the setting of the poem, and in my mind, I am seeing a Caribbean setting a few decades past, right? And in this time, it would be very, very common to have extended families living in the same house. So even though this person has a father in the house, there might very well be a grown woman.
Okay.
I think.
Yes, that's a possibility.
And then if that's the case, if that's a big if, the tone could then come around to be one of, look at us women doing this while the men are doing that. So the we here would be maybe not just kids, but also women. The we at the end.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of speculation. So
it could be, but
the tone
that's
might determine who you think the speaker is.
Yeah.
Win says the speaker may be a young girl or maybe even be a woman. No gender?
Like that.
The speaker is female because if it was male, she wouldn't want the bird to fly away.
But that last line,
But it
she
says
wouldn't
little
want.
girls whispering. It didn't say I am
Yes,
whispering.
yes, but it also did not say that little boys longing to. So there is this deliberate attempt, I think, not to identify gender.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm getting from the writer,
Mm-hmm.
from the person.
Children.
Sorry. Yes. I mean, be careful here not to do. The speaker is female because if it were male, she would want the birds to fly away.
I would say the speaker is a child. We don't know if it's a male or female child, but I think it's a child.
Look at the language in earlier stanzas. The last stanza is very ambiguous deliberately. But look at the language in the first 3 stanzas. Do we think this is the voice of a male or female in this situation? Who speaks like this?
Contentless woman.
Women stir their boots.
It sounds a bit feminine to me. I'm getting a sense of the speaker identifying with the women on a deep sense.
Anyone
I'm
else?
getting that feeling.
Does that feel?
No, not me.
I'm checking online. No, I think I can see it where they say contentless woman, and we're doing this to get ready for the men's sport, right? So it's almost like I could see slightly the sarcasm that he's talking about. Slightly.
I mean, look, I see a good deal of sarcasm in stanza 2 here. Look how the women's work is described all night long. And we list out a long list of things they're making: hot coffee, chocolate, seriously, rap poem, tie leaf. So we're getting the impression that the speaker can identify with or appreciate the amount of work the women are doing. And then look at the big contrast now. For tomorrow's sport. So all of this work is happening, and at the same time, the men are having sport.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a contrast of hard work versus basically
Definitely.
folly. So we see the hard work, and then we see sport and drink white rum. So what do women do? We work all night long. What do men do? Drink white rum and have sport. So I'm seeing just a bit of dissatisfaction with this
whole system.
The system and how the rules
duties
are
and roles and responsibilities. Okay. All
but
right.
then stanza 3 is interesting because we can look at it as being a sincere stanza or a sarcastic stanza. In darkness, shouldering their packs. I find this to be very sarcastic. The speaker is saying, look at them acting like they are soldiers carrying this big burden, shouldering their packs. You know, as if what they're doing is anything important. So I'm getting that sense of kind of making a mockery of the big deal that the men make of hunting birds, of shooting birds.
And what's in their packs? The good food that they have prepared.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so in summary, what do we think is, let me see.
C says, sounds like a grown-up sharing a childhood experience.
So that would be reflective.
Yeah, actually reflective. Gender, yeah, so we see the gender stereotypes coming in when it comes on to a theme. Definitely female. Someone says female all throughout the poem. Wow. So we see the women doing hard work while the men having fun. We could comprise, so the we at the end here, I guess, the girls, boys, and women.
Okay, yeah.
But the we could comprise all that, but we still don't know who the I is.
Yeah. Deliberately.
Yeah. So do we have any consensus? I have these 3 for tone and this 1 for mood. Any
Mood
others
is
from the teachers as we move along?
Tone, reflective, dissatisfied, sarcastic.
That's what I get. I get this from the speaker sounding feminine. So if the speaker sounds androgynous or masculine to you, then you might get a different tone because the perspective would shift.
No, I'm agreeing that it's possibly female, but mood reflective and also can I say that it makes me feel a little disgruntled as a woman, right? For the mood, yeah, a little vexing to the spirit, that women have to do all these things while men just get to enjoy themselves. Okay.
And as you say that, it really is enforcing to me that this is a feminine speaker, a female,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's not just a poem saying women are doing all of this hard work. It's a poem saying women are doing all of this while men get to do this. So it's almost like a long letter of complaint, but a very poetic letter of complaint from a woman about what we women have to be doing while men get to get away with just drinking rum and hunting birds. I'm kind of sensing that, but that is just my
This would be
view
an
on it.
excellent poem in a question that has to do with gender.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes.
This might show up on the exam with some gender twist
Yes.
to it.
Yeah.
It's definitely a possibility.
So who's really being shot? Bird shooting season. Who's getting the raw end of the stick here? It seems like the birds are the ladies here. All right, we're not supposed to be talking about the poem. We are sticking to tone and mood. Okay?
Yeah. Tone and mood. All right.
So I
Let's see if we
agree
can.
with you.
Yes.
You have sold me on the sarcastic.
Good.
Right? I agree with you there. Reflective, what somebody is saying here. When it's time for the exam, they will.
You have to remember everything. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything could come up. Any of the
Yeah.
20. So that's why we do sessions like these, so you
Yeah.
can get them etched into your mind.
Yes.
It's a lot of work, but no use complaining about it. It's a lot of work for teachers too.
It's easier when you put them into categories, though. So, it helps you to remember them when you
For sure.
categorize them.
We have
Okay.
gender poems, race poems, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Easier to remember what happens where. All right, let's jump on to
Nature.
Sonnet. One of the nature poems, right?
Nature, right here.
Yeah.
As I mentioned it, nature.
As I mentioned it.
Yes, this one.
I like this one.
Sonnet, one of my favorites from even before it hit the syllabus.
Reflective, definitely.
Definitely reflective.
Yeah. And in terms of tone and mood, I think it could be reflective because the tone, all right, so let me pull up. We probably need to pull up the poem for those who are looking. So, yeah. The persona is definitely reflecting. And what he brings up for us puts us also in a reflective mood, thinking about, those wonderful scenes that has put before us. But I think there is a transition somewhere in that poem where there would have been a change, because is that the poem with the morning sun coming up that would change everything? Let me just pull up my copy and I'll get back to you all.
Yeah. So in the meantime, I am agreeing with the reflective nature of this poem. I think the speaker is reflecting, and we can reflect based on the speaker's reflection. So tone and mood, I think reflective would be a good adjective.
Admiration for the tone and also the mood. I'm getting that as a speaker is, reflecting on the setting and, all that he sees around him or her. I think there's a sense of admiration. He's so, in awe of what he's seeing. And so there's a lot of admiration and appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say definitely admiration
Admiration,
for
appreciation,
both,
reflection.
yes, for both tone and mood.
Mm-hmm.
What do
Yeah.
what's your opinion of those online?
Oh, those online, they're slow with the typing today. Maybe they are tired. Someone
What's
says
your
it
opinion?
contrasts with an African
African
thunderstorm. Okay.
thunderstorm. In mood or tone? Or
In mood or tone, Alicia? Where are you seeing the contrast?
in what was that?
Ah, a tone of
Or
awe. That's a good one. That's a good one. I can see the
Alicia,
contrast with an African thunderstorm too.
in what way it contrasts nature with it?
Both of them are nature poems,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess the action that takes place in both
In mood,
contrasts
she said. She
in
said in
mood.
mood, it
Okay.
contrasts in.
So,
So in the African thunderstorm, what mood do you think, Okay, I see what you mean. One is definitely going to cause you to feel a sense of chaos and anxiety, but this one will cause you to feel calm
Peaceful.
and peaceful and reflective. Yeah, I see what you mean there,
yeah.
Alicia. I see
And
what you see.
hence a tone, the tone peace. Can we say peaceful tone? Yes, it has a
Yeah, calm.
peaceful tone,
It has
calm
that
tone.
calm,
Yes.
blissful kind of tone to it. Someone
Nadia
says
says
reverent,
reverent. Yes. How are we
pensive.
supporting
Pensive.
reverent?
I like that one. I like that one. Pensive. That's a good one.
Reverence to what, Nadia?
Because a lot of what we say, remember the main thing I think for English B is we have to be able to support what
Definitely.
we are saying. Yes.
Reverence to what?
Is it because of a church being present?
Dear God, the very houses seem to. We see a few references to God, our church.
Yeah.
The speaker might be reverent to God's presence through nature. Who knows?
Okay, Alicia says
It sounds a
yes.
bit like God's grandeur in that sense.
Okay.
Well, God's grandeur is no longer on the syllabus, unfortunately.
Oh, you sound very sad about that.
Oh yeah, that's one of the greats, man. God's grandeur, one of the great points. I really enjoyed making lessons on that poem.
We all have our particular specials. Yes.
Yeah. Pensive. Who is pensive, man? And what
Yeah.
pensiveness are you seeing? So when you're telling us your tone or mood, just give us a quick explanation so you can support a little bit.
Trina said, I don't like. Which poem, Trina, you don't like God's grandeur?
Who doesn't
Is
like
that
God's
it?
grandeur? Oh,
I'm
wow.
saying, I think it's God's grandeur. She's saying she doesn't like.
Wow. So I'm waiting on you to support your answer. This is serenity. Okay.
Serenity. God's grandeur. Yes, it's God's grandeur that she does not like. Sorry, dear, Mr. Webb. Don't kill her.
All right, that's fine. That's fine.
It's too long and drawn out. That's what she said. All right. Admiration and thoughtful. In place of thoughtful, would it be better to say reflective in terms of this? We're talking about tone or mood here. You see how easy it is? Because they're all feelings, it's very easy to mix up tone and mood. because they both have to do with how you feel or how somebody feels. Okay, it's feel.
So who is being thoughtful? Who is admiring? Is it you, the reader, or the speaker?
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting to find out.
In the meantime, we have a clarification on the reference, the beauty. So the person is revering the sleeping city.
Okay.
So it's like a high level of admiration and respect. I guess it's not the same type of reverence as, reverence to God that I was thinking of earlier. Slightly different connotation.
Okay, so
Pensive, reflecting deeply.
calming, reflective. So how do we sum up tone and mood in this particular piece?
Well, for me, this is just my view on it. I see admiration, wonder, and frustration. I'll have to support that because that hasn't come up for tone. For mood, calm, reflective, sympathetic, and then at the end I have sad. No, before I am eaten online, let me just support the frustration and the sad.
Well,
So
Mina, as Menon might be there with you. The speaker is very
meaning,
pensive. Yes,
yeah,
because you might have
yeah,
some support there,
I think
right?
so. So for me, the kind of frustration the speaker feels. So we see the calm, the bliss, the admiration. We see all of that throughout the poem. But at the very end, I get the impression that the speaker is frustrated because this peaceful setting only lasts for a splint of time. Because
Uh,
he's only experiencing like the little twilight hour. And
right.
then he's saying, but look at the last line. All that mighty heart is lying still. So this is just a lie. It's an illusion because in the end, London is going to wake up and the place is going to go back to noise, pollution, chaos, drama, people walking around. So all of this beauty that I can now enjoy, I can only enjoy it here and now. In a minute, when the alarm clock start going off, it's going to be gone. And I think that frustrates the speaker.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yes. Yes. This, remember, I was saying earlier, this is a poem where something changes at the end. That's the change I was referring to. Yes. So, I agree with you. So we could add a few admiration, reflective, frustration, calm, reflective, sympathetic, sad. The sad part being what you just described,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
That's what I get.
sympathetic.
So
This, could you share some on the sympathetic?
all right. So let me just read the kind of summary I have here. The tone of this poem is admiration and wonder. The mood, calm and reflective. So that's like the general tone and mood. But I kind of go into the kind of tangential aspect of it here. However, it can be said that an underlying tone is one of frustration, as a speaker cannot enjoy the morning beauty for very long, which would create a mood of sympathy or sadness for the speaker. So we can almost feel sorry for this man who he's standing on the bridge. Maybe he got up super early just to experience this 5 minutes of peace.
Okay.
And then he has to come to the reality that this isn't the real London. When we think of London, we don't think of a nice, open, natural, quiet area. We think of noise, traffic, we think of commerce. So when he says that the mighty heart is lying, there are many meanings here. One of the meanings I got is this feeling of peace and bliss is a lie. I can't really enjoy this for very long because this isn't London in reality. London
Okay.
is people trafficking and noise and chaos and crime. That is London in reality. So this little moment I have, this majestic beauty, it's like a little illusion because it's broken as soon as London wakes up. And I think that's why we have emphasis on the sleeping houses. It's only while the houses are sleeping can we enjoy this beauty.
All right. So I see. I see. So you feel a sense of sympathy for the speaker that they would lose this wonderful peace very soon. Okay, all
I
right.
think so. That's just one angle we could take, of course.
Alicia said she was in awe throughout the whole poem,
Ah, that must have
even
been
at the
a
end.
good point.
Alicia, even at the end, you were in awe. Last two lines as well. I don't think I feel sorry for something is blocking that word there for me. Feel sorry with him. Could you highlight that last
Oh,
point?
this one.
Yes, I don't think I feel sorry for him, but I feel sorry with him.
Ah,
Well, if
okay.
you feel sorry with him, there definitely be onto a mood there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Definitely.
Yeah, I get
All
that.
right. All
Maybe
right.
I'm not feeling sorry for him, but I understand him
Understand.
feeling frustrated at the what is that word? The transience of this beauty. It's just no, and it's not really what I can enjoy all day long.
Okay.
But that might not be the main tone. The main tone would be like the positive ones, I
Yes.
think. But I think
Yes.
that could be an interesting angle that we could take. I think so.
And CXC is looking for interesting angles that can be supported. Am I correct, dear Miss Anderson?
Sure, certainly. Sorry, yes, definitely.
Someone said defend
Definitely.
your answer. Of course. Sure, of proof. Yeah, man. Proof. No empty words around here.
Yeah.
Tashina says, good point, Andrea. All right, so I think we might have touched on the main tones and moods
For this
for
one, yeah.
this poem. So let's jump.
What's the next one? Oh,
Dulce.
I love this one. This is my God's grander, one of them.
Oh, I see.
All right, you all go ahead. I'm not going to speak. I would
No,
love
you, you,
to
you, sh-
read.
you should
I would
start. You should
no,
start
no,
because
no.
you love it.
This is
I
your
would.
point, yes.
Oh, Trina
You
is with
should.
me. Yay! Yeah. Oh, she said she loves war poems. Okay,
Wow.
beautiful. So, Trina, what do you think? What do you think about the tone of this poem? Where is it?
And while we're thinking, this I on my channel, of course, I have a lesson on the poem, but I also did a session with some students at Denby High School.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, about 100 students turned up, and we talked about this poem for about an hour, and they had some very interesting points to make. So it's a it's a longer video, but if you have the time,
Yes.
I suggest you check that out. I like doing, my regular style videos, but I have a special place in my heart for the discussion videos where I can pull
Yes.
from
So,
other
yeah.
perspectives. That's what literature is all about.
Well, this
So
will
come
be a
on.
poem where I think that there was a lot of changes taking place,
Hmm.
right? We don't have one particular tone going throughout the entire poem. Anybody agrees with me there? Like, definitely, there is a sense of tone being a sense of defiance.
Hmm.
Anybody would agree with me? Um, Anger. The writer seems angry. The persona, reflective, Trina said,
Mm-hmm.
very ironic tone.
Mm.
Could be
I,
used
I I would
as
say
very ironic
more
as
device than tone a little bit.
yes, yes. I wouldn't say ironic, but I see where you're going.
Mm.
You're trying to say that it doesn't turn out. Yeah, I see where you're going, but
And
I
there's some
agree.
sarcastic, some sarcasm too,
Yeah,
which
that
is
may be the
verbal
feeling
irony.
part. So Yeah. The writer
In the
is
in the
definitely angry. The tone is reflective.
Mm-hmm.
The writer is a bit defiant because he's pushing past. Just in the title, I could see why the person said ironic, and I think that's where I want to say he's defiant, right? So he's trying to say, oh, you say that? Well, let me tell you this, right? And to show how it is the opposite. Um, in terms of tone as well, let me see, what else? I want to jump across to mood.
Mm.
That's my contribution for tone so far. I'll wait until
Yeah.
you all reach mood. It's ironic as the poet is showing the incongruity between the ideals of those who support war and the reality of it. Yes, I agree. But could we say that when the tone is ironic, I suppose?
I wouldn't say the tone is ironic because it's too vague a word to describe tone. But if you want to point out some sarcasm that the speaker uses, I mean the poem itself is ironic, but tone wise, irony isn't necessarily an emotion. But I would say that the speaker
I feel
might be
ironic.
sarcastic in some of the lines. Even like
Yes,
looking at the title, Dulce Decorum Est.
yes.
That's a bit sarcastic because there's nothing. The speaker is really making fun of the idea that anyone could think that it is sweet and fitting to die on the battlefield. Someone says depressing.
Yeah, I agree with Trina.
That's a good one.
Depressing is, but you said it for tone, Trina, or yes, no. For tone, I suppose. For tone, Trina, depressing. Yes, she said yes for tone. Tone to the writer. Yeah, yeah. The images that he points out are depressing,
Yeah.
but it's also depressing for mood as well. For
I
me,
think
mood.
even more mood than tone for
Yes,
me.
more than tone. That's why I asked.
Yeah.
Definitely the traumatizing.
let's get into that.
Yeah,
An oral, you
Traumatic.
know,
yeah. Horrific.
There's definitely a mood of
gloomy
yeah.
Yeah,
You see
yeah.
gloomy too.
or gloom.
All the negatives we can pull out here
Yes,
Wow.
in
horror,
this mood.
gloom, all of
This
those
is
ones.
definitely a poem that evokes a lot of moods.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike some of those before where we had to be pulling through, you have lots of proof that you can use to pull to support the different feelings.
Yeah, the diction supports, the tone, and the mood, the choice of words, because again, these words are very descriptive. So we see image, taking precedence here, and the imagery is what is going to actually evoke those feelings, which will give you the mood, and the attitude of the speaker, which is the tone. So the different images, the different words, those are what will give us the tone and the mood.
Yeah.
And in this poem, there's a lot of negative images, negative words.
Yeah.
So we can get a lot of negative tone and mood.
Yes, that's true.
You know?
And I see ironic popping up again. So I just want to address this thing about an ironic tone. I see contradictive. So what happens is we have these ideas of what the tone is doing in terms of purpose. But in terms of describing the tone, we have to find a word that is conveying how a voice sounds. Right? So we could say words like sarcastic, cynical. Cynical is a nice word. The poem is the writer is cynical because he's really
Hmm.
excavating the underside of war. Something that we see as heroic and great and glorious. He's being cynical about it.
Yes.
So that is the tone, actually, cynical. Or we could even say things like satirical, if we want to get on the more political spectrum, where the poem is highlighting something within society for us to really take a second look at it. So we wouldn't necessarily say it has an ironic tone, but cynical or even sardonic or satirical. These are more advanced words for tone, but they would come in handy for a poem like this, where the poet is pointing out a flaw in our belief system or a flaw in a popular belief, right? So words like those might help. Critical is also a good one coming in from Nadia.
Yes, critical. That's a good one.
Critical, criticizing the idea of war being glorious, criticizing the political structures behind, sending men to die on the battlefield. So instead of ironic, let's poke around ironic to find words that
Yeah.
more accurately describe how someone's tone of voice. Yeah,
Yes.
I like
tone
cynical.
of voice.
That's the best word I find to be able to encapsulate
Hmm.
the ironic. Okay. What about critical? Oh, so that's a word that somebody threw.
Yeah.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right, good, good, good.
That's a good one.
Critical,
Yeah.
pessimistic words like these. Don't be afraid to use to
Yes.
use less commonly used words when it comes to tone and mood. Just make sure that you're describing an emotion or an attitude while you're using the language. All right, I think we
It's
have covered this point.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Triple A, you're coming in again.
I was just saying this might seem weird, but anyhow, maybe it's because of the knowledge of the poem. Go ahead. I was going to say a sense of hope in the end, but that this was going to be exposed,
Oh,
but I really can't truly support it. So let's
hmm.
move ahead. All right. That's my mood because
All
I
right.
know that he is being cynical and he's really undermining
Critical.
what they are trying to establish as the order. And so, therefore, there is a hope that this can
Ah,
change.
it's like a resistance, a pushback against
Yes.
this norm.
Yes. So that's hard to support. So let's move along.
Hmm.
Yes.
So this is my
Goodbye, Dulce.
thing here.
Yes, let me see your.
Yeah, this is what I have on it in terms of notes. I don't know if you guys at home want to make notes, you can take screenshots. That's a way in which I can quickly save the information on the screen. And then later on you can dissect it if you
Critical,
wish.
critical, disapproving, compassionate. Okay. Imploring, sympathetic, reflective, depressing, and gloomy. Definitely. Compassionate. The tone is compassionate.
I see
Ah,
compassion for the dying soldier and for those who are about to follow in his footsteps.
okay.
That's where I see the compassion. So
Compassion. Mm,
yeah.
compassion. That one is not rubbing me too.
You're not seeing compassion?
Compassion. I see what you're trying to say, but I'm wondering if compassion is the word that I want to use.
Hmm.
Mm. More empathy
Okay.
than compassion? Because what is he really going to do? Um, I somehow feel that compassion comes with an action-oriented something. But for,
Okay.
so, but I see why. I see why.
I think
All
the
right.
action I think the action here is
To
we know that the speaker cannot really help this dying soldier that is spoken of here.
yes,
But the compassion comes in his like willingness to speak out and break the mold and say, guess what, guys, stop joining the army, stop going out to die, stop listening to these generals. This is what's going to happen to you.
okay,
So
well
I think
that
he's
supports my hope too. That
yes, it
supports
does,
on the
it
same
does.
line. That
That's why
supports my feeling
I
of hope.
wished you would have talked more about the
Yes,
hope, because
yes,
even though
that's
it's
true. Uh-huh.
it's really under the surface,
Yeah,
I think the poem is trying to change something, accomplish some
yes.
kind of change in how we view war. Yeah. So,
Could we say the tone?
but I like
It has to
empathetic.
be a feeling wound. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
empathetic Because the speaker himself would have been in similar situations, being a soul himself. So he could actually empathize with this dying man.
And this is one case where the persona and the poet actually lines up.
Right. One of the rare examples.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Ooh. You can hear another tone coming in from my end. It's a tone of frustration.
Yes, because he's mourning them. All right.
Mood would be depressing.
Yet anger. Angry. I think this poem could really, really take off a lot of moods in persons. Anger, definitely.
Someone else says sympathy, looking at like the disease and so on.
Okay.
Cynical, critical, yeah. And we see more empathy. All right, I think we have largely agreed on the tones and moods here. Yeah. So can we move on to the next one?
Okay.
We'll have to do a part 2. We can't get through all 20. I'm always over ambitious. I overestimate what can be done in 2 hours. A similar poem.
Oh,
Dark Time.
This is a dark time, my love.
Trina, this is for us, girl.
This is the dark time.
Similar to that, yeah.
What do we think?
Tone.
Frustration.
Frustration? Could you explain?
How do I explain this one? Okay. So the speaker is describing and telling us all that is happening, and we can assume during war, you know. And so I am just getting, as I read through stanza by stanza, I'm just getting and a feeling of the speaker being frustrated with, you know, all that's happening. That's just briefly my explanation.
I suppose when you look at the things of him talking about oppression and tears and misery and okay.
As I read through stanza by stanza, it's been a while since I read this poem though. But you know, as I read the first stanza, this is a dark time, my love, all around the land. Brown beetles crawl about, shining sun is hidden in the sky. Red flowers bend their heads in awful sorrow. This is a dark time, my love. It is a season of oppression, dark metal, and tears. So as the speaker is, you know, giving us these, saying these things, telling us, yes, this is a dark time, and you know, explaining, I'm just getting a sense of, oh God, I'm just tired of this time. This time is not a good time. And when, you know, this time comes around, things go wrong. So that's just what I'm getting, frustration. As we read through stanza by stanza, line by line, you know, a sense of just the speaker being tired of it, tired of this time, you know, and as the speaker goes on, that's what I am getting.
Yeah, makes sense. What do we have in the chat here? We say warning. So again, we want to convert this into language that speaks to emotion. So we could say if someone is warning you, that's a tone of imploration, maybe. We'll circle back to that with better words, but I understand the angle. Sad, sometimes simple is good. Pessimistic, yeah. Hope, interesting.
Yeah, I would like to hear the hope part, please.
Yeah. This misery is only for a time. emphasis on time. This is the dark time. This is the season. It's just a season. All right. Interesting. So again, if you mention your tone or mood, they can just add a bit of support as you go along. Melancholic from Trina. Suppose?
I could see where that could work, but she can go ahead and explain.
You can explain. I'm seeing the dark gloom, but melancholy. For me personally, that's a bit of a stretch. But if you could explain it, conflict.
Mood.
If we could convert this to a more emotive word.
Feeling, yeah.
Sad. And we're getting a bit of explanation here from Wins. They were to hang on, things would get better. I get the same idea that this is only a temporary situation. So we just need to fight. That's it. The Japanese like to say fight as a way of saying push through, good luck, you can do it. Yeah. Depressing. Yeah, with a lot of language here. We would support that. Sarcasm. Oh, the oxymorons coming in. I see. Festival of guns. That's not literal because for the speaker, this is not a festival at all. This is not a celebration. Okay, I understand. Oh, we have a different angle on the Festival of Guns here from Alicia. Interesting stuff. Can't even comment on everything here. A lot of insights.
Oppression.
Oppression. Okay, we have an explanation from Trina. The melancholy expressed through the pathetic fallacy, which is a bit of an advanced device here. So the pathetic fallacy, for those who might not have studied up on that device, it's where we use nature to reflect a certain mood or feeling in a poem. Here we have nature being as depressed as the people, with the flowers bending their heads in awful sorrow, and also with the sun hiding in the sky. So that creates a melancholic mood. Okay. That could be supported. Interesting backstory here from Wins. I will have to confirm this. Every Guyanese is new to this poem by heart. Wow. Interesting. I guess this was really like a great renowned message of hope in that particular time. So this message might really mean a lot to the Guyanese. Maybe especially the Guyanese who could relate to that time period, or who, I suppose. All right. Any other words you could use to describe tone or mood?
Reflective.
Reflective.
Yes.
Gloom and terror. Gloom and terror.
So we're still on tone, right? Yeah.
The gloom might be more of a mood for me.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
Yeah, not tone.
gloom.
And terror, I don't think the speaker really feels terrified per se. I think he's more trying to wake us up. Say, come on, this thing is happening. You need to smell the coffee. Wake up. We are being invaded. It's a rough time, but let us push through. So I'm not necessarily seeing the speaker giving up and just being afraid. Patriotic in tone. Wow. Okay. That's an interesting tone. Yeah. Patriotic. Who is Walter Rodney?
Tone. Patriotic. I still have volume right, good. So we have some tones there. And in this case, the mood, I think, will line up with some of the tone. For me, the mood here is very depressing. The mood here is... I'm fighting with this word, apologetic.
Ooh.
Do we get the sense that he is just the line, this is a dark time, my love? Maybe it is my knowledge that is affecting this, in the sense that I know that it is something that he wanted to encourage someone, that it would be passing soon. Apologetic is not the right word, but I'm trying to say that he's saying we just need, just as you said, we need to endure this for a time, right? We need to be aware. We need to take some sort of action. Anybody helping me there online with a word? Ended up, okay. No, that doesn't help me. You're right. Yeah, but in terms of mood, definitely depressing. Definitely depressing.
I get what you're saying as well with the apologetic tone.
Yes.
I would revise the word apologetic later on.
Yes, hopeless.
But I get it.
The mood is a sense of hopelessness, even though he's trying to cause us to wake up. But I feel a sense of hopelessness reading it, because with all this happening all around us, so depression, hopelessness, two strong ones for me when it comes to mood.
And Wins is giving us some background on the poem and on
himself.
Walter Rodney.
Yes. Who is Walter Rodney?
So we can check that out.
Okay.
So we can check the chat for a bit of historical background. All right, I think we've kind of looked at this poem enough. This is what I had beforehand for mood. Yes, I had these tones and moods. Anxious, apprehensive. But on the other hand, I saw a speaker who is militant, cognizant, very aware, trying to make others aware of this situation. So there's the anxiety and the apprehension, but I don't see a spirit of resignation from this speaker. I see a speaker who is saying, come on, let's stand up, let's brace for impact. That is what I'm kind of getting.
Militant.
Yeah. For mood, I'm getting dark, gloomy. We all looked at these.
Anticipating. Well, anticipating for something dark to happen.
Yeah.
Right, yes.
And not in a positive way.
Thank you.
Look at the rhetorical questions. Who comes walking in the dark time? So we're getting somebody's coming.
Yes.
Right? Whose boot of steel tramps down the slender grass? So it might be a case where some persons might not be even realizing how dire the situation is. And he's pointing out the gravity of the situation. But I don't think he's saying we should lie down and die. He's saying we need to wake up so that we can be a resistance. That's a little bit outside of the poem itself, but that's where I think the poem is coming from.
Okay.
It's just my
All
my
right.
idea of that. I promised a 2-hour stream, so we might only get through 1 or 2 more poems. Let's see
Okay,
if we
let's
can
go.
do
Let's go. Let's first mirror. I will be
mirror.
quiet at this point.
Who do I eat, Natty?
Any takers for mirror? Anyone loves mirror?
Mirror, mirror
Is
on the
this-
wall. This is another poem with a clear distinction between speaker and persona.
Okay.
And so very exact.
Despair. Is this for mirror or dark time? We might still have some residual chat coming in for dark time.
Despair.
Despair. That's what this is, the dark time.
Maybe, I'm not sure if Winds is referring to this poem or the previous one. Okay, for mirror. Okay.
The mirror. Despair.
Despair. This woman is in a state of despair. Sad. Honest. Menon, you have to give us more.
Yes.
More on that.
Tone. Honest as a feeling.
I see arrogant in the mirror. Mirror sounds a little bit self-important. Blonde. Despair that she's aging. She has lost her youth. Okay.
We are still talking about tone, right? The tone is one of despair.
Yes, we're getting a mix of tone and mood. So please indicate whether you're referring to the tone or the mood, guys. Because we don't want to get it mixed up. Uncaring. Tone. Uncaring? Is it uncaring? Or is it just more of an objective, matter of fact tone?
I was going to say matter of fact. Definitely matter of fact.
Uncaring sounds a little harsh to me.
Indifferent. I'm just trying to help out. I'm just trying to help out.
Yeah, because the mirror is pretty neutral,
Yeah.
pretty objective in the whole situation. Or at least it tries to be. The mirror takes pride in how objective it is.
Why do you say uncaring? Tone, matter of fact.
Okay.
For tone, can we say reflective as well?
Of course. No pun intended, since we're dealing with a mirror. Reflective. Yeah. It's reflective. The mirror reflecting on the condition or the situation of this woman. I could say that. Critical. Critical of the candle and moon. And critical of the woman too. The mirror sounds a little bit, it tries to be objective, but doesn't it sound a little bit judgmental or critical? Assertive. I would need
interpretation there.
explanation.
Assertive versus
Assertive.
arrogance. I feel whatever is the proof for arrogance may be the proof for assertive, depending on how you interpret it.
The
Trina?
mirror asserts itself as being godlike. Might be one angle.
Yes, because
I'm not sure what Trina is thinking with
Honest.
assertive.
candles and moon are liars, so the mirror is being honest. She takes what she says and give it back to you with no filters.
I would prefer the word objective or we said frank, matter of fact. I mean, honest, I guess is a word we could use. Unbiased, impartial. I like the word impartial. We could even use a nice little word, dispassionate, where the speaker. So now we have compassionate, or we have dispassionate, whereas there is no emotional investment involved. The mirror is just telling it as it is. It doesn't care how you feel about it. So that's another nice word we could use. Back to arrogant with Kishalia.
Okay, somebody supporting you with arrogant. What about mood? How does this make persons feel? This is one of the poems I'm not commenting much because you always have it's 20 and you leave out 2. So this is one that I've not spent a lot of time on.
Okay, all right.
So for me, just looking at it here and reading it very quickly, mirror.
For me, the
It can
mood
make
is
you feel self-conscious.
Ooh, for mood. For mood.
Yeah, for mood.
Yeah. That could be how the poem makes you feel. After getting into this particular woman's, mindset and so on. Okay.
Could also
Yeah.
make you feel sorry for the person. All right.
Pity.
Because yes, pity, a sense of pity.
for me, for mood, I'm thinking also reflective. Yeah, that's a feeling I get, there's a sense of reflection, thinking about aging and growing old and all of those things. So it puts you in that frame of mind. So I get, the mood. So both mood and tone in this case would be reflective. Yeah.
Yeah. So reflective, and that ties in well with the self-conscious thing as well.
Did you read Menin's post of why it is uncaring?
The mirror's uncaring because every day this woman comes in front. This is why I said dispassionate.
Yeah.
It's obviously a pitiful situation,
I don't think it's
but the mirror doesn't show any sympathy.
Pretty up anything. The mirror just reflects it, exactly what it sees. It doesn't disguise or touches up Photoshop or anything like that. It just give it to you raw,
No sugar
real.
coating.
So yes, you take it. It's either you like it or not, but it's gonna give it to you straightforward.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if we can jump to one more before we wrap up.
One, yes.
This is what I had from mirror.
Time's going.
I had for tone reflective, matter of fact, proud, condescending on the mirror's part, and mood
Yeah, I was
reflective.
thinking condescending. Sorry, I was thinking condescending, but I didn't think it was as strong. So that's why I didn't comment
I think
on
it's
it.
strong.
Oh.
You see here, look at how self-important the mirror is and how it treats the woman like you're just a mere human. Yeah. Just as it is, unmisted. Look at it. So basically, we as humans are misted. Because he's saying, I am unmisted. I am not influenced, or my judgment isn't thwarted by emotions. Silly little things like emotions don't impact me. And then the mirror actually becomes a little bit defensive here because the mirror knows that we're going to see it as cruel. But he's saying, I'm not cruel. Don't get it twisted.
Only
I am simply
truthful.
showing you what reality is. I'm not being harsh. So if you think I'm cruel, it means you don't like what you see in the mirror. And I am not the one painting the image. You are that image that you're seeing. And look at this, the eye of a little God, very pompous of the mirror.
Pompous, yeah.
To say it's the eye of God or the eye of a little God. The mirror says it meditates. Yeah? People who meditate are people who are at some higher plane of emotional intelligence and stuff like that. Regular people who meditate.
Intellect.
Yeah? And then where else?
I am important to her.
Yeah, plain and straight. She comes and goes. So the mirror sees
Yes.
itself as, I am this stagnant, immortal thing. You just come and go. You're the one consulting me. Isn't it so?
Yeah, I can see where you're going with
So
it,
I'm
yeah.
seeing that condescension, that sense of self-importance and pride as well. And all right, let's jump through some comments to say depressed. Okay, yeah, for
The mirror
mood.
is blameless.
And sympathetic, we could feel sympathetic indeed. What does matter of fact mean? I think Miss Anderson wrapped up this word nicely. Just tell you as it is. Give it to you straight.
Straightforward.
Yeah.
Just giving you facts, being objective.
And we see the assertive coming, tying in with the proud and condescension. The mirror sees itself as being, objective, blameless, stuff like that. All right, let's see if we can just do one more and then we'll have to think of a part 2 session. Yeah. So test match. Oh, why did we come to this one?
A random
This one
selection.
is not one of my favorites. Not my favorite.
Super random. I didn't want to end on test match.
Yeah.
Well, let's draw again. Let's pull another one.
Pull another.
This one
All
is
right.
definitely not my favorite.
Let me skip past that. South.
South.
How about South?
You happy to work with that? South?
All right, let's work with South. What do we think? I wanted Death Be Not Pro. All right, you know what? Let's do one of the new ones.
Yes.
I'll have to jump and skip.
Trina, I'm with you.
My parents.
We'll have to do a part 2 because I have notes on everything. A lesson. Okay, Death Be Not Proud. The last one on the list.
Let's end on a somber note.
End on a deathly note, eh? All right, Death
I'm
Be
not
Not
100%
Proud.
familiar with that one.
Yeah, it's one of the new ones.
Yes, it's one of the new ones.
So it's one that we're not all super familiar with yet, even as teachers, because this and landscape and a lesson for this Sunday, they're fresh on the syllabus. All right, so Trina, you got your request, so start us off. Tell us what you think for tone and mood.
Where is my dead peanut butter?
I could go for another 2 hours, but I know it's night for some of you guys, for almost all of you. We see mockery. Mockery, tone of mockery. The speaker mocking death. You see poor death. Mockery. Death be not proud. Mockery. Thou art slave. Any other tones? How does the speaker sound as he talks to death or talks about death?
Defiant.
Defiant is a good one for me.
Mhm. That's how he sounds.
Death, you're not the boss of me.
Yes.
And
Defiant.
Trina with an adjacent one here, triumphant.
Triumphant.
At
Okay.
the end, victory over death is what the speaker seems to be preaching.
Yeah.
Triumph over death. You see, he says here in the last two lines, one short sleep past, we wake eternally. That's triumph. And death shall be no more. Death thou shalt die. Serious.
Yeah. Solemn.
Solemn would be for me a better
Yeah.
alternative to serious.
Yeah. Solemn.
Especially with the topic being dealt with and with the Christian approach to looking at it. And if you know the background here, John Donne was also a priest, was he not? Priest or chaplain, something like that.
A man of the cloth.
Man of the cloth. Yeah. Anything else from the panelists?
I'm coming.
As we wrap it all up.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Oh, I like this one too. Admonition.
I was going to say there is. Okay, go ahead.
Who's going?
There's a sense of hope. I'm thinking
Hope.
that's coming from the tone. It's one of. It's very hopeful that death is not going to conquer us. We have a way out, almost like we're vindicated, right? So I get that sense coming from it as a tool.
I agree fully.
Also as a mood, because there is this sense of hopelessness, hopefulness, sorry. Yeah, for tone. Anything for you, Miss Anderson?
Yeah, I definitely see this.
I think, yeah, and I'm gonna go back to what you said, Triple A. The defiance. That's what I am getting. You know, the idea of one day defeating death and overcoming all of the things that come with death. So I'm getting a sense of be steadfast, be strong and firm, and don't worry, because we're gonna overcome it one day. So I'm just getting a sense of defiance, hope. Yeah, pretty much those for me.
And if we look at the audience, this is one of the poems, even though it's a new poem, it's one of the poems I've discussed the most with teachers and students. I have my regular analysis on the poem. I also have maybe over an hour long, maybe 2-hour video of a teacher discussion of this poem from one of the poetry talk sessions. So definitely, you don't even have to watch it. Just use your earphones while you're doing things around the house, just listening. It's like a talk show. Very good insights. And then I have another discussion on it, I think, with some students from St. Lucia. So it's a poem that I've been talking about. And one thing that has come up is who is the speaker, who is the audience of this poem. And the audience will help us determine both tone and mood, because we need to know who is feeling what if we're talking about feeling. One of the audiences might be the people who fear death. So for them, we have this tone of, we've been talking about this optimism and triumph and hope. We don't need to fear death. But also, death itself is an audience. The poem is, the speaker is speaking directly to death, in a sense. And so I think that's where Trina's admonition comes in. Because the speaker is basically scolding death, and I said, listen, man, you are going to die. Don't even feel too high and mighty. So we are getting a message for us, but death itself is getting a message for himself. Yeah.
It's almost like a threat.
Yeah. Like you're not gonna last forever. You will soon be unemployed. You won't be killing people for much longer. So don't feel all high and mighty.
So there's a lot of optimism in the speakers, in the tone. Optimism.
Yeah. And yes, we could call this an apostrophe. Since the speaker is speaking to something that isn't human or isn't alive.
Yeah.
So it's a nice technical word. If you're writing an essay on this, it's nice to show CSEC that you have some technical knowledge.
Yeah, get some cool points.
That's one thing, guys. Don't be afraid to go out, look at some more advanced vocabulary. You don't want to misuse anything, but if you can throw in some gems and show CSEC that I have an advanced understanding of this poem and of how poetry works, even if you fall short in one other aspect, you will still prove that you're actually an A student. Yes. So words like an apostrophe, it's good to show CSEC that you know what these terms mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
you want to be impressive. Yeah. We'll have to end here on this note. This is what I had for Death Be Not Proud. Assertive, confident, mocking, condescending, and then optimistic and triumphant for mood. Yeah. So we'll end it here. Feels a little bit abrupt because we could keep on going, but it's been 2 hours. Leave it or not.
Yeah, I can keep on going.
I would keep going.
I'm enjoying this, but it is nighttime, and some of us do have to get up in the morning.
Yes. Yes. So
but one
what
thing,
we'll
as
do
we're closing,
yes.
Would you be able to, some of those videos that you spoke about, you can probably tag it in this live so that we can just easily connect? Is that possible?
I will, yeah.
Especially one where you said you all spoke about this poem, Death Be Not Proud. And you raise a very interesting point for me as a teacher in looking at the audience. So when we're looking at mood, we're not just looking at how we feel based on what you've just said. We're also looking at who the poem addresses and what sort of mood is evoked for the persons, if imagining ourselves being the person who's addressed or entity that's being addressed in the poem, for also creating the mood. So that has been insightful for me. All right. So in case you don't feel anything, there are different lights to look at it from.
Yes. You can look at the atmosphere, you can look at the mood of the persona. There are many ways in which you can approach the feeling in the poem. Yeah. Just in case you feel heartless in the moment. I'm not feeling anything.
Mina said we don't have school tomorrow. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Let's stay up all night then.
Oh yes, we're running out of time, but Tashina, visit csecenglish.com and you will get all the information you could possibly need about the classes that I'm running. So I can't talk about that now due to it's over 2 hours. But just check out, that's my website, and I have a few things there. Yeah. I am kinda, the last couple of months I've been infiltrating the CSEC space, I believe. Because I have such a passion for English B and English A. I'm not disrespecting English A, but I am really an English B
fanatic. We love
fanatic.
you still.
I'm an English B fanatic. For English A, I have a session for teachers on Sunday, but maybe I'll talk about it in the description of the video because we're on time, we're over time. So I'll try to link some of those videos I mentioned earlier in the video description so you can, you know, have it all in one place. But I have an English B playlist on the channel where it's, you know what? Let me spend another 1 minute just to show you guys where you can find those videos. Just
Not a
1 minute.
problem by me. And it's not a problem by who it is having the day off tomorrow. And that's not a problem for you. Who said they had the day off? There we go. Ooh, so far back.
Let me see. Let me see. All right.
Right, Manning and I would not have a problem with it.
Nice.
Right, Manning? Am I pronouncing the name correctly? Manning?
All right. So you guys are seeing. This is just what the channel looks like. If you go into playlists, right, you will see I have Anansi, all of the Anansi stuff, and here where it says poetry lectures and workshops, if you click into this playlist, what you're going to find is not just analysis, my regular analysis videos, but discussions with other students and teachers. So here, can I zoom in on this? I have one on lesson for this Sunday. It's 1 hour. Just chatting with other teachers. I have one here on Dulce, 1 hour. Right? I have one here on Mirror, Little Boy Crying, Death Be Not Proud, almost 2 hours of chatting. And we have some amazing insights. And there are a few more that will be posted at some point. So guys, the content is there. And there are other content creators also, but I'm telling you, just in my library, there's a lot of content. I have been following this, what's this channel? Another teacher doing some poetry stuff as well. What's the videos look like this? What is it? Trivia, something like that. Trivia Mackenzie. Nice analysis. I think these videos are fairly new, but more insights. So you can write down the name of this channel if you want, you know, maybe a different approach or different ideas. So these are good resources for teachers and students. So, you know, looking for different insights and angles. See, I even commented on this one. I watch the other content creators. I don't exist in a bubble, you know, because no one has the answers. No one person. So that's gonna be it for this live. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, it was nice being here.
This was playing in the background all along. Yeah. Thank you guys for coming out. Thank you for
Special thanks for having us.
AAA and Miss Anderson for really showing up for 2 hours.
My pleasure.
Time for you to get some sleep.
All right.
Yeah. Life of Letitia. I can't make any promises on that, but hopefully we can do a live on it soon.
Bye, Trina.
So bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for coming up. Okay. The playback will be ready in a few minutes or hours, so you can watch it and take notes.
All right.
And see all that we missed in the chat. We missed so much in the chat while we were chatting.
Yes, I wasn't seeing any welcome stuff then.
So we can look at that as well. All right, guys. Thank you. I'm going to wrap it up now. It's been 2 hours and 13 minutes. Take
all
care.
The best, folks. All the best.
Take care, everybody.
We'll do a part 2 soon.